It's all right. Yo. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to. This is my Will Ospreay shirt. I'm gonna plug in Fight Forever. I'm not gonna play it because that can't be very interesting. But I can at least. I've never played it before. Dude, I know more about AEW than you do, Kimple. Let's see what it looks like. All right. Trust me, it is, Kimple. We're not getting trolled this early into the game, this early into the stream, are we? I mean, that's coming in a little too hot, in my personal opinion. All right, it's getting copied right now. So, good morning, good afternoon, whatever you kids are up to. Earl Skakel in the house. We've got the Los Angeles Kings playing about an hour and a half, so I thought I would do this before the King game. My newest purchase, Kenny Omega Street Fighter Edition. Now people are marking out, oh my God, that's so rare. That's such a rare thing. It's not really rare, to be honest with you. It was $26. All right, let me see. Now I'm not going to play the game, but see what that does. Installing game content. I probably should have done this before I started the stream, but that's why I'm where I'm at in the world of streaming. 5 minutes left to download content. Now, hey, what's up, William? Kemple, Girth Brooks, Rebel the Uncanny. Let people know on Twitter I'm going live. Not much. Had a really good show last night at the Comedy Store. And told a new joke that I'm very proud of. I think I made you guys this offer that I would tell a new joke in chat as a thank you for you guys tuning in. So here's the joke I told last night. Um, so I tell people I've started playing video games again, and I only play the sports games. I played Madden 24, and it was so realistic that after the first preseason game, uh, two Raiders got arrested for armed robbery. Hello. NHL 24 is so realistic that the first game uh, for the Florida Panthers, there were 12 people in the stands. Hello. But my favorite game is MLB 23 because they have these really cool historical features that you can go back in time with a current roster and play in like an old stadium. Like if I play with the Angels because I'm a Shohei Ohtani fan, like millions of other people. And like it's cool to play a game with the Angels against whoever in like the Polo Grounds or the Coliseum, not the Rome, the LA Coliseum. I believe the Dodgers. No, was it the Angels or the Dodgers played there? Maybe both. I don't know. What am I, a baseball historian? But they have this really cool feature where you can take a current roster and you can play in the Negro Leagues. Now, I know virtually nothing about that league in terms of the players other than Satchel Paige. But there was a player who was like their Shohei Ohtani. He was the best hitter and the best pitcher. And the biggest difference between him and Shohei Ohtani, about 9 inches. Hello. All right, the game has 9 hours left on the download. Well, maybe we won't um, get to see my reaction. To I just thought I'd want to play the graphics. I heard the graphics are horrible, but it does say start without updating. Kenny Omega front and center. It is kind of weird to see Jade Cargill. I'm going to work on that joke, but there's something there. Um, Willie Hunter, very funny, Emmy nominated. Um, if the noise is too much, I'll just turn off the TV. Emmy nominated writer gave me a funny like idea with it, more or less that 100 years ago, uh, blacks were banned from playing in the baseball league, but now there's a video game that we can play in the Negro League. Kind of seems unfair. All right, I'm not going to listen. Let me know if the noise is too much. I'm not going to play the game while we're talking, but Welsh salty. I mean, you don't get this stuff with Kevin Brennan. Yes, well, I don't know if I can. I don't want to get Kenny Omega. All right, exhibition, exploding barbed wire death match. That makes me want to go to that. Now I'm not going to play. I just want to see what it looks like. Great to see you, Welsh Salty. I think I'll be Kenny Omega. I mean, the graphics don't look very good, to be honest with you. All right. Hold on here. This music's too distracting. This is out of control here. All right, we're just gonna do that. I'm not gonna, I thought I'd take a shot, but I don't think I know. You guys don't want to see a picture of my face going like this, but I'll play it tonight and see. I'll give the game a review tomorrow night. I might be at Rampage and Collision tomorrow night. They're both at the Great Western Forum. They're doing some thing for AEW tonight at Inglewood High School. A hard pass on that. That is literally in the middle of Crip and Bloods. And I have a bright red car. And I'm kind of kidding, but not really, because uh, in my early days of doing stand up, I wouldn't do black rooms, but I would do comedy shows that weren't in the greatest neighborhoods. Um, and I remember one time I did a show right by the Forum, and I had a that's when I had my Dodge red Magnum, bright red Magnum, and the guy I pull up, this show was so bad I was headlining it, and I was no way near a headliner back in 2007. And I pull up, and this big black guy, I mean, he was very cautious coming up to me because, you literally can get shot like that. Bright red car, it's a Crip neighborhood. He's like, "Yeah, what do you want?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the headliner. I'm going on last." He's like, "No, you're going on first." I'm like, "No, no, I don't know if you know how comedy works, but the headliner goes on last." He's like, "Well, the headliner's usually not playing a room in a red car that's a Crip neighborhood." And I just looked at him and I'm like, I don't have to go on at all. But what up? What up? We got some new people in chat. Thank you guys. Well, luckily for me, I live in West Hollywood, so the Forum is, I guess it would be considered west of me, so I can take the 405 or I can take La Cienega straight there. Um, but La Cienega crosses the 10, even if you take the street. So I think I would, if I was going to the Forum, which I might be tomorrow, I would probably go west. And okay, I'll beat you there, Kenny. Can you sign my doll, you son of a bitch? As I'm wearing my Will Osprey shirt. I've been working on my Will Osprey impression. How's this? One, two, three. Well, I've been working, brother. You've been having the Young Bucks wipe your ass. I'm not really good with impressions. Um, so far, my review of AEW Dynamite, just based on the opening graphic of Kenny Omega, not the best. Not the best. I don't really want to take. That would be a funny live stream, um, but it's dangerous. There's stabbings all the time on this LA, the Metro Rail, they call it. So I'll take the probably, well, the 405 tomorrow is a cluster, you know what. So I would probably, I got some short. I don't want to bore you guys with local street talk, but there's some shortcuts I could take to get to Inglewood. Problem is, even with the free ticket I'm receiving from an AEW wrestler, uh, excuse me, um, I still got to pay literally $100 to park at the Forum. It's $100, man. I would be a great Uber driver. I really would. I know all the back roads. So, it should be fun. We'll get into Dynamite now because this kind of blends into what I'm talking about. I kind of want to go tomorrow to see how they set up Full Gear, which is Saturday night at the same venue. So, because last night on Dynamite, it was a fun card, but I don't know if that maybe outside the opening match that a lot was set up um, for Full Gear. Because the opening match was a Hook and Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. And, this is typical. Like, this is a very WWE move where on the show right before the pay per view, you have two guys who are facing each other in a singles match. You have them in a tag match. And, all four of these guys can go. Early domination by the Blackpool Combat Company. And then Orange and Hook got in there offense as well, and then Hook got pinned. I was a little surprised it was like a clean pin. And then Moxley cut an okay promo. To be honest with you, he's going to kill Orange Cassidy at Full Gear, and You're Nothing, and all that shit. Full Gear is pay per view. And then tomorrow night, Jordan, Rampage and Collision are being filmed on the same night. So it'll be interesting to see the crowd because that's a long show. That's 3 hours. Um, I would, William. Oh, I mean, I'm Ben Jones. Uh, I would never in your wildest dreams take the Metro Rail to Inglewood. Uh, oh, I'm telling you, dude. I mean, I think I told this on the last stream. I went to the Steelers game and a couple weeks ago at SoFi. I went with the manager of the Comedy Store and his son. It's $100 to park. Uh, I mean, and then I got food for them and me. So for 3 people, it was a little over $100. So that I'm out $200 before I even hit the seat, and that's not counting the $370 for the ticket. So that's 100. You're looking at $500-600 to go to a sporting event these days. Now let's say I went alone, so you take away, the food would have been probably, I think I had a burrito and a Diet Pepsi. That would have been $50. So you shave a little bit off, but like, who can afford that? Uh, I should Uber drive and live stream. That's a good idea. But who knows? Uh, I mean, Moxley's just very one note. He'll bleed, he'll cut kind of a rebel without a cause promo, and then that's it. Uh, well, Wardlow, I don't know. Wardlow will, I think, be involved in the pay per view in some capacity. Yeah, I'm having fun doing it, Ben. Obviously, I wish I would have done it sooner, but I'm always a little late to the party. Uh, oh yeah, I mean, well, I used to do comedy at the Queen Mary. I mean, that's kind of a rough neighborhood, Long Beach. Long Beach is very gang um, heavy. You've got a lot of Crips and Bloods, and I mean, there are a lot of gangs and all over the city. I mean, there's not too many gangs around West Hollywood, but they come here because they know there's a lot of money late night, with people drinking and doing coke or whatever they're doing. The 2 clubs on the weekends are open till 4, and that's where the real riffraff comes out to play. So, yeah, I mean, well, that would be funny if I just started driving Uber. Yeah, I mean, you never know though. Was that show with Ben Bailey, Cash Cab? I mean, I don't watch it, but you know, no, you're right. I mean, I do like it. I mean, I don't mind. And obviously, at some point, I'll get like a digital camera. I know that this someone commented the other day. Your camera sucks, but this is an iMac webcam camera. It's not like it's some shitty, I don't know, flip phone camera. But yeah, I like it. I mean, it's about time I branch out on my own. And, instead of, I got sick of being guest on podcast. Even though I like talking and all that, I was getting other people their watch hours. And I never asked for money. I've done Kevin Brennan's podcasts probably 14, 15 times, never been paid. And I don't want to get paid by him. But, I'd rather devote my time into, doing this for my own self. I mean, even doing the Comedy Store podcast, it was cool to meet the wrestlers and stuff. And I got along with Eddie and John, but, I was making content for the Comedy Store network. So I look at all those hours I spent there, didn't get paid for one episode. And, we didn't get great numbers, so I'm not complaining. I mean, we were not the Joe Rogan experience. And I guess you could say I got paid by meaning Big Bill and RJ City and Peter Avalon and Rocky Romero and all these great wrestlers who I'm fans of. But you know, and I've got 13 listeners. That's a lot for me, so I'm happy with what I'm doing. No, I know, dude. I just was resistant. What up, Spurg? Uh, yeah, who know? I'm not sure how that works. Oh no, I'm not. That wasn't like a inside shot at Kevin. I just, I would if I'm going to do stuff for free, I'd rather do it for me. So at least I'm getting, pretty relatively close to the super chats. But I'll be honest with you guys. I'll still read every question. I'm not going to say I'm not reading questions unless you give me $5. If you want to donate or pay because you're like, hey, I think this guy's funny. He's entertained me for a very long time for free. I'm not going to refuse the money, but I'm not going to like uh, hold out my can for donations. I love that when it was Kevin does it or Steel Toe does it when they make the tin cup noise. That's the funniest thing. Uh, I love Kevin Brennan. He's my favorite current comp. He's so funny. Uh, Lambda, lambda, lambda in the house. Uh, I just like talking. And obviously, I can talk about wrestling. I mean, I know this is an AEW stream, so I'm sure people tuning in for that are like, "Get to the wrestling talk, you moron!" But it's like an open forum. You guys in chat can ask me anything. I don't like getting into the Dabbleverse stuff that much because I'm trying to keep this not Dabbleverse free, but excuse me, this stuff really packs a punch. Um, but Dabbleverse light, I got nothing to add on Stuttering John or Steel Toe or whatever. I just or Carl or I just I'm 55. It's just not that interesting to me. Um, Yeah, but with Kevin, that's why I like Kevin. He's authentic. You might not like him. And I get what you're saying, but that's who he is. And I'd rather have someone be who they are than some phony radio personality. I'd like to see myself in comedy movies. Get to the Prince Nana spot. That was pretty funny, and that is coming up next. I must say, I think early on in the Comedy Store Wrestling podcast, uh, I wasn't a fan of Prince Nana, but he's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. I almost went to Inglewood tonight because they're doing some show, not a wrestling show, but like a charity thing where all the AEW guys will be there. And I would have loved to have met Prince Nana. Kevin's all right. Earl bringing in the celebrities with days with Jordan the Lion. Yeah. Oh, I always pimp Jordan's channel out. I mean, I'm obviously me and Jordan are good friends, but his channel is the best out there. Because he puts in work. He edits music and it's perfectly edited. This live stream is not perfectly edited. It's not even edited. I hit record, I hit end stream, and it's on YouTube. I'm trying to get a little better with some of my energy drink reviews and TikTok things, but you know, I'm playing catch up. I'm playing catch up. Yes, or I think Jordan William has. I think he's made 7 appearances on Inappropriate Earl, which I am still doing. I'm working on obviously my cousin RFK Jr. I spoke with his son yesterday, and it's just hard to nail him down. That could be the one that gets eyes on the podcast. Like what? I didn't know Earl was related to this guy, and it would be a good interview because I have some serious questions. Yes, Jordan's dog is great. Bob Levy, good. Shuley, yeah, I love Bob and Shuley. I obviously worked with him on the Ric Flair roast, so um, I got see that's my problem is I have no beef with anyone, and so I'm a fairly boring participant in the Dabbleverse because I don't talk shit about people just to talk shit about them. If I have an issue with you, like say Jeff Ross or his manager or Comedy Central to a degree, I talk about it. But I didn't burn any bridges with Comedy Central. I still audition for plenty of their animation projects, and um, but really, not even Jeff or his manager can. Uh, you notice they never come at me. You think Jeff could if he had something on me, because he knows I've spoken the truth. So I speak the truth because the truth is the best roast battle or Twitter war thing you can have on your side. If you don't get your cousin on before that, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a good point. I don't think I forget if Josh Martin was on my podcast. I can't have Piven on because I won't have any more canceled or Me Too type comics on. If you go, I'm not going to name their names, but I've definitely had some. I've had one or two people on Inappropriate Earl who should be in or should have been in jail for what they've done, but you don't know it at the time, and you know, it's just I don't. I'm a one man army. I don't um, have like an Adam or a Jamie Vernon or someone helping me. It's I book the guests and I don't really research their backgrounds. Of course, on some of them I wish I did, but yeah, Galern and well, Galern. Here's the funny thing, and we'll get back to AEW talk because I see the numbers dropping. Now I feel like Kevin Brennan. I'm looking at the numbers. Wait, we had 14. We're down to 10. No one cares about my life. Um, Galern was on the pilot episode of Inappropriate Earl with Jason Washington, who was a door guy at the Comedy Store and got into porn. And it was really a funny interview. I mean, Jason Washington was a little dirty, to be honest with you, on the pod. Like, he got pretty graphic. And it turns out I didn't have one of the cables plugged in, so it was never recorded. Yeah, I mean, if you were to give me a name, because to me, when you say sniper, sniper ducks in and ducks out. I don't really duck out. I just stay there. I'm like a quarterback who stays in the pocket, doesn't move. So can you have the biggest manager in comedy on his name is not? I would have Dante on. That would be a fascinating. Having Dante on Inappropriate Earl would be like having Tommy on because I'm fascinated by Dante. Like, I'm really, truly fascinated by him. But I don't think he would stay. I would be fair with him, but I don't think that he'd walk out. Because I'd be like, my first line of questioning would be like, bro, you were in all those Black Lives Matter protests, you're talking about George Floyd and all that stuff. But then, like a year earlier, you were in Ari Shafir's video saying some pretty racist things. Now I realize it's a comedy sketch and it's Ari, but why don't you play those clips at your next Black Lives Matter rally? You get your ass handed to you. No, not Dante Nero. We have a comic out here, Dante Ruscicelli or something in Los Angeles. He's just a complete fraud. I mean, at Ralphie May's funeral, he's got a selfie stick running around taking pictures with everyone. And then he sees me and Dr. Ken, and he's like, "Hey guys," and it's like, "Bro, this is a memorial. This is not a networking opportunity. You schmuck." Uh, I mean, I live in my own world, but like, uh, he just now this isn't a big deal probably to some of you who aren't stand-up comics or in the entertainment business, but like he posted a tweet, I think it was yesterday. Hey everyone, I'll be in New York City for the comedy festival. First of all, I think the comedy festival was last week. Uh, but does anyone know how to get tickets to SNL? Like, what big comedy manager would need help getting tickets to SNL? You just call up, I don't know, 30 Rock and go, hey, this is so and so from Golden Artist Entertainment. Me and my junior agent, which is just his wife, we'd like to come check out a show. We're looking at talent. Bam, you got 2 passes. And then he's like, "Hi everyone, me and my wife will be in New York for the comedy festival. Once again, I think it was last week. Does anyone know of any good restaurants? Like, what manager knows has to go online to ask Twitter people? Anyone know anything about good restaurants in New York? Okay, so let's get to the Hangman Swerve match, or not the match, but the promo for the build up of their match at Full Gear. Um, Prince Nana and Swerve come out. Hangman Page comes out, and Hangman's promos lately have been very good. He's very good as a heel, I think. Or he's almost like a heel face. I mean, I would say Swerve in this program is the heel. Prince Nana is like the Bobby Heenan, but I think Swerve is really getting behind. Um, Hangman's getting behind this heel persona. And he cuts a really funny promo, basically trying to cause a rift between Swerve and Prince Nana, saying Prince Nana uses Swerve to sell merch and weed in the parking lot. And Hangman hits a pretty funny line saying, "After I kick your ass, Swerve, I'm going to kick Nana's ass in the parking lot and steal his weed." That, of course, got a pretty big laugh from the crowd. And then Page gets into his, teaching past, saying, "I used to teach children, but now I feel like I'm wrestling one." And um, pretty good. I mean, it was a good promo. It made me kind of want to get into this match. I mean, I would say, strangely enough, the Jay White MJF match, this match may be overtaking it in terms of, yeah, I want to see that because the build up for Jay White and MJF, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it, but it's been a little off. Um, but who knows? I mean, both great wrestlers, so I think that'll be a 5-star match. And then next was Sky Blue and Red Velvet. Okay match. I don't know. I wasn't really into it. The crowd was kind of dead for it, to be honest with you. And that's not necessarily a knock on the girls. This match was like how a comic feels after they follow a comic that's done very well. Because that Hangman promo was really good. Crowd was into it. And then you trot out these two broads. And Red Velvet's just coming back from an injury. And Sky Blue's being really pushed. I don't know if her and Tony Khan are a couple. I'm not trying to start rumors, but like she's oddly being really pushed a lot, and Taya Valkyrie's nowhere to be found. So um, I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't dig it. Um, and this was for the final spot in the Full Gear match with Statlander and Julia Hart. So obviously it'll be Statlander and Julia Hart, who I'm assuming is going to win, and now Sky Blue. Let me see what's going on in chat. I always ask the locals, which yeah, but I mean, it's not bad, William, when you ask the locals. But like when you go on, if you're not portraying yourself as like some super comedy manager. I mean, I have a friend of mine. I don't want to say their name, but they are a super manager. I mean, they've repped every big name actor you can think of. They pick up a call and they get reservations at anywhere in the world, not LA, not New York, but the world. Um, yeah, I mean, Hangman, I think might be better as a heel. Women's is good, but I think with Mariah May into the mix and possibly Mercedes Monet debuting sooner than later, who knows? I mean, who knows who Dante manages, William? I have no idea. He was telling people he managed Cedric the Entertainer. It's like you didn't manage him. I mean, probably his biggest client is Jimmy Walker, and Jimmy Walker is, he's older, but like he's such a big name that he can get his own gigs. I mean, Jimmy Walker can probably call most clubs in the country and go, "Hey, it's JJ from Good Times. I'd like a weekend, or I'd like to headline your club." Okay, no problem. He doesn't even need a manager. Um, yeah, I don't know about that I mean, I love Jay Lethal, and he's criminally underused, but, I mean, I guess every match can't have, like, super build-up, but, you'd think they could do a little more for Jay Lethal. I mean, he's pretty iconic in Ring of Honor. Um, well, I mean, the thing with the Sky Blue match is just the crowd was dead for it, and I felt bad for them, but that Hangman promo, like I said, was so good that you kinda felt bad for whoever was coming out next. Uh I mean, I mean, she's very pretty, you got the hair and the eye things, but, I don't know, it just she doesn't do it for me. But, that's something where good writing could make her much more interesting, so I don't and Red Velvet just came back, so, I don't know if there's a lot of interest in her yet because people she was gone for, like, 9 months. I know Cedric is listed on his side, but he doesn't rep him. He reps Ron Jeremy though. Um, there you go. So after that, a very quick segment with RJ City getting Mariah May into Tony Storm's locker room. And there's some fat bald guy now with Tony Storm. I don't know if that's her manager or just, I don't know what that was. That last time was the first time I recall seeing him. So that didn't make a lot of sense. And they're really having, Mariah May, like, be, like, single white female with Tony Storm. So I don't know if that's building up for something with them down the road, and then, Tony Storm said, "I want a warm-up match before Full Gear." So, I mean, it was a funny segment. I mean, I love RJ City, so it's always good to see him. He really is a ham. RJ City is proof that you can be the ham and not the whole pig. Samoa Joe won a squash match. It was pretty funny. I don't remember the guy's name. He was wrestling, but the guy was pretty funny. Like it was just because he had like an average body, and he looked like probably someone from accounting at AEW. Hey, you want to make a couple $100? Joe will protect you. Uh, and then Samoa Joe cut a little bit of a promo on MJF, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're really pulling MJF in all directions. You got Wardlow coming after him. You got Daniel Garcia coming after him. You got obviously Jay White coming after him. You got, I guess, Juice Robinson was coming after him. So, you kind of don't know where to go right now with who gets your attention in the MJF battle. I mean, I will say Wardlow is the most intriguing one just because that was his bodyguard. It's kind of like Shawn Michaels. It's very Shawn Michaels Sid. That's one of my favorite, promos of all time when, Shawn Michaels fires Sid. "Big man, I'm giving you the night off," and then Sid just cuts one of his wacky promos, "You don't give me the night off, boy," and then I don't know who fucked up, he gives him a power bomb, and it looks like Shawn Michaels didn't wanna take it, so he kinda slipped out of it, so then Sid picked him up again, and it was a pretty good power bomb. Uh Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they do have a good roster of women. You've got, obviously Britt Baker, uh, Thunder Rosa when she comes back, Saraya, uh, Willow Nightingale, Julia Hart, Chris Statlander. I mean, maybe Mercedes Monet, because Tony Storm. Well, we'll get into it with the announcement, but so they've got some decent women there, but they do need better writing, better storylines. Uh, I mean, I do. My favorite to watch is Julia Hart. I love watching her. She's for 22. She's really good. Um, and who else? What other women are out there? Uh, Well, Tony Storm, obviously. Mariah May now is in the mix. She's very good. I mean, the Bunny was good, but she's no longer in AEW. So yeah, she's good. I mean, she's one of those ones who's so good in the ring, and her look is so good. It's almost better she doesn't talk. I get the feeling she's probably not good at promos because they've never really had her do one. Even in those House of Black promos, which I love when they walk out of the black and back into it, she says the least. So I do kinda like her, um, going out there with Brody King. And I did laugh the other night. Who was it when she was wrestling? I forget. I think Julia Hart was wrestling, maybe Willow Nightingale, and Willow Nightingale looks at Brody King, goes, "Woof, woof, woof," and then he starts doing it back to her. It's like so stupid. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of not free agents, but people who they could sign. Of course, I was bummed out they let Jade go because she's a star. Got the look, the body, the face. She's a great wrestler. That's going to come back to bite them in the ass. Of course, the sting will be a little less if they sign Mercedes Monet, but who knows? Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the WWE is just for me. I don't like WWE because a lot of people always ask me, "Why don't you like WWE that much?" It's just stale. I've seen everyone over and over again. That's why I like Edge going over to AEW. There's so many matches I would want to see Edge in. You've got Omega, you've got MJF, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, Jay White, even Edge and Juice Robinson would be just fun to watch because it's fresh. Um, so Will Osprey, if he signs with AEW, which I can't imagine Osprey going to WWE because they would not handle him well. You need to let Osprey wrestle for 15, 20 minutes. He's so good. Uh, and then, yeah, I mean, FTR is very good. We'll get into them in a second. So probably the match of the night for me last night on Dynamite was the Bucks against Penta and Commander. This, by far, I mean, this was Spot Fest City. Now, a lot of people don't like that about the Bucks. A lot of their matches are Spot Fest, but I love it, man. I'm not really into that wrestling, but Commander um, is. I'm just getting a message from an AEW wrestler. I'm not going to say who, but I'll just say guns up. Um, so I should. He said, "What am I doing?" Let me see if I can get him in here. Let me see. Um, hold on. This is unprofessional, but I can't do doing a Dynamite review on YouTube. YouTube has I type. Let's get him in here. Um, and then so I like the Bucks matches, and that guy Commander with the off the rope stuff, is really good, and they had all four had good chemistry. It was a really fun match to watch. I don't necessarily know if it did anything to make me go, I want to watch Full Gear. So it was kind of a wasted match in that regard, in my opinion. And then after that, the Bucks were interviewed and said they no longer care about the rules. Kenny Omega walks in. There's some. I've been asked to put Austin Gunn over. Austin Gunn, the best seller in the business since Mr. Perfect. So tweeted Austin Gunn that I said that. And Jericho comes up and there's a little pushing and shoving. I mean, that kind of set up the match for Full Gear, but I don't know. It just I don't know. Like I would have had instead of the street fight, I would have had Omega and Jericho maybe against the Bucks, and something wild goes on at the end. Maybe even the devil comes out. You're like, oh my god, is he involved in these guys now? And then so I think you wasted the Bucks in this match, but it was the match of the night by far. And then after that, the Guns wasted the squash match, and it was I don't know. I mean, some squash matches I like the Samoa Joe one was funny. This I don't know. Uh, just I don't know. It just didn't do it for me. Kind of a pointless segment. And then we had a Wardlow package. where he called out MJF again. I kind of liked that. Um, but it was kind of a weird segment. It looked like he was practicing in the ring, squashing guys, but it was like they were practice dummies. So it didn't really like I don't know. Uh, I didn't really like it. I thought it was also weird on this episode of Dynamite that they didn't use Sting, Adam Copeland, or Darby Allin, but maybe that's for a collision. Um, let me see. Let me message this man, Austin Gunn. Let me see here. It's like I gotta turn the light on for a second. Just dead big time. See what's going on tonight. What? Maybe I can get him on the podcast. I'm sorry. Um, but I thought that, so we'll see. I mean, Collision should be pretty good tomorrow. I'm assuming that's the go home show, basically. I'm assuming they'll go Rampage and then Collision. And so I kind of want to go tomorrow night just to see uh, how they set up Full Gear. I like Smart Mark Sterling, but I don't know. They don't use him a lot. I mean, he was Jade's girl, so who don't you know, Earl? I mean, I know a fair amount of people. I'm like my father in that way. I have been lucky enough to meet people from all walks of life. And I was not me trying to say, "Hey, I'm talking to Austin Gunn. I'm cool." What am I? I'm a straight shooter. Like I didn't want you guys to think I'm texting some broad, but since this is an AEW Dynamite related show, I was like, hey, I am talking with an AEW guy. Um, so do you think Bucks hate Jericho because of his song? I mean, I don't know. It's all right. Let me see. So, I mean, in regards to Mark Sterling, I just don't. There's just even though they have Collision now, there's just not enough TV time for him. But he is funny. I met him at the Ric Flair roast. I'm like, bro, anything, but you're pretty funny. And he just kind of looked at me. Um, yeah, I know that's only for hockey players. What up, Jason? What up? What up? Hold on, he's texting me again. This is out of control. Um, just a minute. I've got Stone Cold ET on the line. I don't know what that means. Can I get that in English? Hello. Let me see if there's so let's wrap up Rampage. So the street fight was I don't know. I mean, I don't like these street fights. Like I've said many times before, like there's just too much action going on. Um, I will say I noticed they put Big Show in a suit. So, because I think someone posted a picture of Big Show and then Kevin Nash right next to each other. And, Kevin Nash is jacked, but then his knees, he looks like he has the knees of an 11-year-old boy. Like they're all like kind of knotty and really skinny. And it's like, and, the Big Show kind of had that same, like he should not have come out in a singlet. Now he's still a big dude, and up top he like looks really good still. Uh, but I don't. I didn't need to see Big Show in this match, but I knew they'd keep his. I thought it was cool last week when I don't know if this was the planned spot. I'll assume it wasn't. Where Big Show kind of came out to the ramp, and it looked like he was trying to walk down further, but he just was like, I can't. So Kyle Fletcher actually came to him, and so it worked. And then he got power bombed through 4 tables for his efforts. Um, no, it's all good, dude. I don't care what you say in chat. I mean, I don't know what that would be in terms of, because if you look at that Big Show Kevin Nash picture, Kevin Nash up top looks like a 20-year-old, and then his knees look like really atrophied. And you could tell kind of Big Show's going through the same thing. And Big, like I joke around a lot about Ralphie May being heavy and but like, when you're the size of the Big Show for the last probably 30 years, 40 years, in terms of carrying that weight. I can only imagine what your legs, um, what the pressure in the joints and the tendons and the cartilage. I mean, and now I don't know how old Big Show is. He might be around my age, but man, that I don't know. I just don't know how his legs and ankles can take that kind of pressure. So I didn't really need to see him in this match, but they kept him limited. You know, I mean, like I said, I don't know if this match did anything to make me want to buy the pay per view, which is a problem with with this is one of the go home shows. I would think you'd want almost every match to set up full gear. Like, oh my god! Like if you're on the fence about buying this pay per view, you've got 3 shows in LA before the pay per view. So maybe they're waiting for Collision tomorrow. So all this is kind of a review with a caveat, an asterisk until what happens tomorrow night happens. But I mean, it was a fun match. I mean, at one point, this was the worst part by far. I don't have any. Do I have anything? Well, I'll use. Let me see. I don't really have something that resembles a baseball bat, but Ibushi gets to the top of the ramp and rides a 10 speed down, and he's got, I think, a steel pipe or a baseball bat that looked aluminum. And so he's riding the bicycle down, and it's pretty funny, but he's riding it pretty slowly, to be honest with you. And then he hits all the guys like Brian Cage and Hobbs and all those guys, but he's barely hitting them. I mean, he's literally tapping them, and they're going flying. So, uh, you know, it was just a little. Like I know it's fake, but it wasn't very believable. What up, cool boy? Yes, Kerry Von Erich. Kerry Von Erich worked when he didn't have one of his feet. I think I don't know which foot it was. Piper was telling me he never took off his boot in front of the boys, so everyone thought he had 2 legs, and he was still pretty athletic. By the way, I think that what is it, November 16th? I think that movie debuts next week. Iron Claw. And MJF is, I think, playing one of the Von Erichs. I think the Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth is playing Gino Hernandez. I could see that. I'm mad I wasn't asked to participate in as Gary Hart. My brother. Gary Hart is, for you younger fans, you're really missing out on one of the all-time greats. So the street fight, for those of you not knowing who was in it, it was Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi, and Paul White versus the Callis family, Kyle Fletcher, Powerhouse Hobbs, Takeshita, the usual crew. And Brian Cage was loaned from Prince Nana. Now, the weird thing is, now Mark Davis from United Empire, not the owner of the Raiders, I mean, AEW probably would sign him just to laugh at the haircut, the bowl cut. How are you a billionaire and you got a bowl cut? The fuck out of here. So there's a lot happening, and of course AEW, I've always said this does not have the WWE production and camera work, so you missed a lot of the action. I mean, at one point, I think Brian Cage, he dropped someone. It might have been, it wasn't Ibushi. I think it was Omega, and he power bombed him through tables, and the camera's like on Brian Cage, and you can see him kind of okay. That's something you never see in WWE. Okay, MJF is Lance Von Erich. He's probably the least known of the Von Erichs, but he was probably the least known, or he was probably, I'm not, the least experienced actor. So that makes sense. It is a good cast, though. I mean, Zac Efron was great as Ted Bundy, and the guy from what's that show on Hulu? My sister made me watch, The Bear. He's he's a good actor. So I think I mean, wrestling movies are like hockey and surfing movies. The Von Erichs, unless you're a wrestling fan, you don't really know who they are. Uh, but it is a fascinating and sad story. So, I mean, it is crazy. Where did you Where? What do you mean we lost you? Bad Thoughts by Chad Z. Uh-oh. Well, we got some Dabbleverse people coming into the. This is a Dabbleverse light stream, boys and girls. Well, boys. Don't see too many. Brody rocked in Texas. Uh, Brody worked in Texas, I'm assuming. Yes, Brody, Bruiser Brody. I mean, no, I'm not saying that the Von Erichs weren't good. And, some of their best feuds were with Kamala. Let me shout out to Kamala, the Ugandan giant. This is a life-size doll for Kamala. No legs. Hello. So I mean, World Class Championship Wrestling. I think they wrestled in Texas Stadium and sold out a lot of the shows. I mean, it was the Von Erichs were iconic. They were like a talented version of the Kardashians are now. I mean, um, some great, great feuds with Kamala, Bruiser Brody, I think Abdullah the Butcher, Killer Brooks, Iceman King Parsons. I don't know if they wrestled the Ultimate Warrior when he was the Dingo Warrior. Uh, yeah, the suplex Kota Ibushi took. I mean, that had to hurt a little bit. Like, I know it's rigged and fake or whatever you want to call it, but like that could not have felt very good. So I thought the funniest thing was now, if you've been following the Los Angeles freeway system the last week, the 10 freeway caught on fire and it's going to have to be shut down for months. There might not be a bigger economic disaster in the country right now than the 10 freeway shutting down. It is the pipeline to go to downtown for people on the west side to go to Orange County. Um, I mean, I didn't go to Dynamite last night because that's how I would have gone to Dynamite. You take the 10 to the 5 and yada, yada, yada. But, I was like, there's no way I can get to Ontario by 5 o'clock with the 10 all fucked up. But AEW had Kenny Omega using pallets as a weapon, and that's how the 10 caught on fire. Yeah, I mean AWA, NWA. I mean, obviously never achieved the heights of WCW or WWE, but like a great, great territory. I mean, that Texas territory was unbelievable. Colonel De Beers was the great bad guy. Who's the other Arab? Who was the Arab manager? Akbar, Adnan Akbar, something like that. And I think, oh, what up, Ross Incognito? I'm a Steeler guy. Can you give me a live update on the Bengals Ravens game? I don't like the NFL, man. The Thursday night games are on fucking Amazon. You got to pay 400 plus to watch the shit on YouTube. Luckily for me, the Steelers are a popular team, so I would say about 70% of their games are on TV. Takesha looked like he's the worst. Yeah, I mean, you know, cool boy. I'm not afraid of anyone, bro. I battled Jimmy Carr on television in front of 1,000 people live, and probably let's say, well, it's Comedy Central, so I wouldn't say a million people were watching, but hundreds of thousands of people watching. If I can do that, to be honest with you, in general, I'm not really a negative guy, so I have nothing to add to Stuttering John talk or, with Shuley and Kevin Brennan, going back and forth. I have nothing to add. If I did, I'd probably be in there, to be honest with you. Um, so, and yeah, Skandar Akbar. He was good. I think he was in, if I'm not going crazy, I believe he was in a faction with Kamala at one point. Was it Devastation Incorporated? Or was that with Kevin Sullivan in WCW? Kamala was linked with Skandar Akbar. Uh, at some point, I think. Um, he was a great heel, and Colonel De Beers was a great heel. And I think I tried to figure this out the other day. I believe Colonel De Beers was there was some racist angle in I think World Class Championship Wrestling where it was either Colonel De Beers or another one, maybe one of his henchmen would not wrestle black wrestlers, uh, or he wouldn't have black referees. Um, Something to do with South Africa, the apartheid. There was an apartheid angle in World Class Championship Wrestling, and there were some black wrestlers in World Class. It was Kamala, I think. Who else? Iceman King Parsons. I think one or two others. But that angle, boy, uh, that doesn't hold up very well, to be honest with you. But and then the announcing, this is like in the mid '80s, you still kind of thought wrestling might be real, or is it real? Is it fake? So, you really thought. I think like Colonel De Beers was from like the Midwest. Like they Bill was being from South Africa. Obviously Abdullah the Butcher was from Windsor, Ontario, and his real name's Larry. Um, Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know though, bro. If Slick and Kamala could have been in the Texas territories in the mid '80s, I don't. It's a pretty racist time back then. But that's when Kamala was a heel, and like people kind of forget because the last like I don't know 10 years of his career, he's kind of a buffoon and funny angles with um, Slick as his manager bowling and shit. But like in the World Class Championship Wrestling, they would scan the crowd and fucking, little kids would be crying because you thought Kamala would jump into the crowd and eat someone. Um, so yeah, Ernie Ladd was a great. I think he was a little before. He was more '70s guy. No, I mean I was a kid when Ernie Ladd was wrestling, and then there was Bobo Brazil, Master of the Cocoa Butt. Uh, Well, I mean, you remember that one promo where Ric Flair called Tony Atlas boy, and like I don't know if that was in the script, but you could see Tony Atlas kind of go, "All right, motherfucker," like that's crossing a line. For '80s wrestling too, that's crazy that crossed the line. But yeah, I mean, I love that. AWA was good too. Vern Gagne, and, uh, Greg Gagne, and guys like Nick Botwinkle. He's kind of never really talked about, but he was very, definitely one of the better mid '80s guys. Gino Hernandez, of course, was great. He was like I don't know what Gino Hernandez was. Was he Hispanic or Cuban? But he kind of had like the Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect vibe going. So I mean, there's a lot more in '80s wrestling than Hulk Hogan and WWE. Um, I mean, NWA was just like Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, Flair. I mean, it was really a great, great era um, for wrestling fans. It was awesome. I think when ESPN2 would replay episodes in the afternoon. But getting just finishing up on Dynamite. I don't know. There was just. I mean, there's some memorable spots like the Brain Buster, Takeshi gave Ibushi, but I also Takeshi giving Jericho a DDT on the couch. That's I don't know. That wasn't. I don't know, it's like not very believable. Probably the most impressive spot was Powerhouse Hobbs outside on a pack of pallets, body slamming, pretty much a full body slam. The Big Show onto a car, and that must have been real glass because that window only really half broke, and then Big Show's unconscious. Uh, Brian Cage, he did a lot of power moves. Fletcher gave Ibushi a tombstone DDT off the ring apron through a sign that was stacked on some chairs. That was like because you could tell Fletcher was holding on to Ibushi for a while because that's a dangerous spot. I mean, I could easily see if Fletcher loses his grip on Ibushi. That's a broken neck, man. Uh, I'm not exactly sure what was that whole spot was made of. It looked like a bunch of chairs, a table, and something supporting the table for a solid landing. But um, and then the Omega got the cage for the one winged angel victory, but it just kind of just seemed like a pointless. I don't know. It just didn't do anything to make me want to get the pay per view. I would have much rather have seen something with like I would have rather seen a street fight. You wouldn't have to make it that long between say the Bucks and Omega and Jericho. And it's a wacky finish. Maybe the devil comes out. You kind of like add flying the ointment into that storyline, or something to that effect. And then MJF to close the show out. They have MJF cut a promo. You can tell he's a pretty good actor. He's apologizing to the Acclaim, and he looks pretty lonely in the ring, and he's apologizing for letting the fans down. And then all of a sudden, Jay White comes out, and they have a little back and forth, and I don't know. Like I said earlier, it just there was something. There's just something about this MJF Jay White feud. It's not super hot. Like, I think Hangman and Swerve is the hotter of the build up. But I think Jay White and MJF, that's gonna be a great match. I mean, Jay White is awesome. Um, this show is like a roller coaster to me. It was up, it was down, it wasn't the best leading into I mean, it wasn't technically the go home show for the pay-per-view. That's gonna be Collision tomorrow night. But I don't know how. I mean, I'm assuming Rampage is just going to be the B teamers, like Butcher and the Blade or something. And I don't know if they're in still. I don't know if they're still in AEW with the bunny gone. I mean, of course, people can work and where their spouses aren't anymore. Charlotte Flair's in WWE, Andrade's in AEW. Um, but I'm assuming Rampage will be kind of the mid Carter show. You'll have like Kip Sabian, um, and I don't know why that makes me think of Zack Sabre, but where did he go? Like, that's the one thing I don't like about AEW, and it's still a problem. You know, Zack Sabre Jr. puts on this amazing 10-star match with Brian Danielson, and then he's just gone. Like, and I know he's a New Japan guy, but they have to do a better job AEW with these people they bring in from New Japan, and then they just disappear. Come up with a promo or something where it explains their absence. Uh, oh my god, yeah, the Grand Wizard. He was Curtis something. He was an awesome manager. He was probably the first manager I gravitated to because he had that little wizard hat on and the glasses and that voice. And I guess he was gay in real life and nobody knew. Um, yeah, I mean, Judo Gene LaBelle. He came into the comedy store one night and he pulled into the driveway, and that's like sacred ground, like only comics can park there. And the person, I just happened to be walking up, and the person didn't recognize was, "Hey man, you can't park here." And I think it was for Roddy's memorial. And he's like, he said something to the effect of, "I'm Gene LaBelle. I'll park if I want to." And I'm like, "Hey man, let him park here. Just say he drove me into the lot." Um, I think I saw Gene LaBelle in some obscure Charles Bronson movie the other night. It was Death Wish 4, and he was playing like a henchman to the drug dealer. Um, well, I mean, I love AEW, obviously. I mean, I'm devoting hours of my life doing streams about it, but they could be um, doing some things better. And I did like that spot with the Golden Lovers. Like, they're great. See, what I would have done is instead of Jericho, I would have had the Golden Lovers against the Bucks. And they're kind of fighting for Omega's attention. But they also, I thought, should have done a better job introducing Ibushi to the American audience. A lot of people don't know what the Golden Lovers is or the significance of Ibushi and Omega wrestling together again. And they keep having the Golden Lovers in trios matches with, you know, and last night was four. So I would much rather them see a reunited Golden Lovers against the Bucks. But who knows? Uh, Wrestle Rock Rumble, absolutely. I think Jay White is the least interesting of the Bullet Club. I disagree, man. I think he's the most interesting. I think um, Juice Robinson is being presented the best way, kind of that wild caveman, macho man, savage gimmick. I think the Guns are good by themselves, but they certainly benefited from being in the Bullet Club. But Jay White, New Japan was like the Bullet Club leader. So, would I support a 227 reunion? No, I'd go more for Room 222. Hello. Now there are some interesting things that made me kind of. I mean, I'm going to go to Full Gear, so but I'll also probably buy it on I guess DirecTV so I can watch it at home. Will they reveal who the devil is? That's I would. I guess I can say this now. I think I told Jordan this privately, but I do think that um, the devil, my opinion, and obviously because they are of slender build, the devil. Most people think it's either Britt Baker or Adam Cole, which kind of makes sense, but not really. Um, I think the devil is Danhausen. Because if you've noticed, they've done a lot of the evil Danhausen promos, but they kind of done them on the DL with not a lot of circumstance and pomp, or pomp and circumstance. So, but it's weird if it is Danhausen because then he's a main eventer. So I don't know where you would go with that. Um, I don't think people would be into MJF against Danhausen. Maybe for like a fun Dynamite match, but like in terms of a program, I don't know. And then Tony Khan said they signed a world-renowned wrestler that everyone in AEW would know. And that would be an interesting. Let me go on this website here. Um, who did that? Tony Khan. Uh, hold on. It's very interesting. I mean, it says a major star is going to sign at Full Gear, and people are kind of going, "Who could it be?" I don't think it's Sonny Kiss. Been there, done that. But people are, could it be CM Punk? Could it be Mercedes Monet? Could it be the leader of the Bullet Club in Japan, David Finlay? Which that would be kind of interesting. Could it be Will Ospreay? Could it be Zack Sabre Jr.? Maybe they're signing him. I mean, someone said, well, maybe they're just going to announce they're signing MJF, but that would kind of ruin. Like the one good thing about the MJF maybe leaving the WWE is it's a good storyline. So it's going to be interesting. Could be Matt Riddle. Uh, could be Dolph Ziggler. Uh, so it's going to be interesting. So before we go, I mean, that's a good one. Mercedes Monet is the devil. Um, Now the devil seems a little shorter than Mercedes Monet, but she is slender up top. Not skinny, but that's someone I've never really thought about. And that would be a great way to bring her in. Because people are into this devil thing. So let's do a this is the AEW full updated card. The pre-show is MJF and to be announced partner versus the Guns for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Now I don't know if this is the actual order of the card, so who knows? But you got Sting, Darby Allin, Adam Copeland, aka Edge, versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. You've then got Hikaru Shida versus Tony Storm, the Women's World Championship. Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley in the international title. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in a Texas death match. That could get pretty violent. The Golden Jets, that's a play on the Winnipeg Jets and Bobby Hull against the Young Bucks. Of course, Omega and Jericho are both from Winnipeg. Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart for the TBS title and Sky Blue. Ricky Starks and Big Bill, the champions, versus FTR, Kings of the Black Throne. I don't know what that means for Buddy Matthews if he can be at ringside, and then MJF against Jay White. So it's a pretty good card. That's 10 matches. So it could be a long card. I mean, I'm assuming the Sting match will be relatively short. I would guess 10 minutes. I'm trying to think other matches that could be on the shorter side. I mean, they've invested a lot of time into Tony Storm, so I don't see her going a short match. I mean, I think the Golden Jets and the Bucks, that's a 15-minute match. I think Julia Hart's probably a 10 to 15-minute match. I mean, the tag team three-way, that's that's 15 minutes for sure. MJF and Jay White, I'll guess, is a half hour. So, get your energy drinks. And then, now they haven't said they're going to tell you who the devil is, but, I think that that's a great call. Um, so yeah, I'll get into my predictions, and I think, oh boy, I mean, depending on who the partner is for MJF, it might be Samoa Joe. I mean, Samoa Joe doesn't have anything on this, so it makes sense to make him the partner. I've always loved that. That reminds me of the Lethal Lottery pay per view. I think it was '91 when it was a tag team tournament, but you had enemies as partners. So you had Sting and Abdullah the Butcher as partners. You had the Freebirds wrestling against each other. Very, very young Buff Bagwell was in there as well. So, I wouldn't mind an MJF Samoa Joe tag team, a tag team, but I don't like these Ring of Honor matches where it's all AEW guys because it's not Ring of Honor. The Guns are not Ring of Honor. MJF is certainly not Ring of Honor. Um, so it's a semi-long card, and if they do debut the Devil, that'll be 5 to 10 minutes, because then they also have to debut as helpers or her helpers. Uh, so I'm almost more interested to see who they are, because I've heard reports that maybe it's Kyle O'Reilly as one of them, possibly Mustafa Ali. I will say this, and I don't know if I'm seeing things, but the first time the Devil and his crew or her crew attacked Jay White, they all seemed pretty skinny. But then in the match or the beatdown of the Acclaimed, whoever threw um, Bowens through the window, they were pretty big. So I could see that maybe being Mustafa Ali or Ziggler. But I don't know what the compete clause is for those guys, especially Ziggler. But they were released. So it's not like, I would guess that if you're released or fired, I guess it's the same thing, that there isn't a 90-day compete clause. Now, if you leave on your own and you don't get, after the contract is up, I would guess a 90-day complete compete clause would kick in, but who knows? Yeah, I mean, that's interesting, Jordan. But I could see them using that as then the Adam Cole has a match with the partner to see who's MJF's partner. So who knows? It's a very interesting, scenario could play out if he retains. But I mean, they're pushing the Guns. I mean, MJF's already over, and I think the Guns are pretty close to being over. So if it were up to me, I would have the Guns win it. You're not going to hurt MJF. But I could also see MJF going, well, I'm not going to lose on the pre-show. And then, you got to figure if he loses on the pre-show, he's not going to lose the main event. So, there's some tricky wrestling politics with that. Um, Now, in terms of Sting, Darby Allin, Adam Copeland, I can't see Adam Copeland losing his first match in AEW. So I'm going to go with a relatively short match, and something at the end will happen with Adam and Christian where it builds up for an eventual match between those two. I think Tony Storm will beat Hikaru Shida. They just put too much into this new Tony Storm gimmick for her to lose. I think Orange Cassidy will beat Moxley because he's already lost to him. I think Hangman, same reason, will beat Swerve because he's already lost to him. So it sets up a rubber match. The Golden Jets and the Young Bucks. I can't see Jericho and Omega losing. I mean, the Young Bucks are the Young Bucks. Win or lose, their reputation isn't hurt. But Omega needs to start winning again on pay-per-views. Well, I know it's 90 days, but I would think if you're released or fired, which I guess is the same thing, you can just go over there. But I don't know. I'm guessing on that one. Statlander versus Julia Hart. I'm going to guess Julia Hart, and Sky Blue's in there as well. But Julia Hart's a star. She's ready. And for some reason, Statlander just doesn't do it for me. That's when I knew Jade Cargill was gone. I'm like, oh, Statlander beat her pretty easily too. So, and then Ricky Starks, Big Bill, FTR, Kings of the Black Throne, and I'm sorry, I missed a group, La Fashion, in Gobernable. I'm definitely not saying that right. This is an interesting one. I mean, they've really built up Ricky Starks and Big Bill. I would prefer Kings of the Black Throne because I just love their whole vibe. MJF and Jay White. This is a tough one. I mean, MJF is in that rare spot for a wrestler that's um, win or lose, he's still MJF. Now, I would think, now I don't know if the negotiations are going well or not going at all, but I would think you would not have MJF lose here. I love Jay White, and I think one day he will be AEW champion because he's great on the mic. Uh, but um, I would guess it's not Jay White's turn yet. But someone brought up a great. It was not. I wish I could find it in terms of the wrestler they just signed. The leader of Bullet Club Japan, David Finlay, somehow cost Jay White the match. And then you've got, but here's the thing, and this is the problem AEW has. Like, I even had to kind of research who David Finlay was. Like, oh, is it? Oh, he leads New Japan, the Bullet Club in New Japan right now. Well, I don't think a lot of American fans know that. So, but the potential for uh, Bullet Club a feud, down the road. I could see London. Oh, is that the legendary Jake Hudson? We are on full Dabbleverse mode right now. Jake, I don't believe we've ever met. Hello. Um, this is a Dabbleverse light stream, Jake, just to let you know. I don't really delve into that stuff on here. This is more of a wrestling show. And, that's all. I'm trying to do this to get to my super chat plateau, 4,000 hours. Now, people have been asking me how they can donate. Then come on in, Jake Hudson. This is more or less an AEW chat room. My PayPal is eskakel at AOL.com. That's ESKAKEL at AOL. I'm old school. I'm not asking for money. I do get a lot of, not a lot, but people saying, hey, until you get your super chat powers, how can I pay you for your humor? And there's that, or Patreon. But, you don't have to. I'm not doing this for money. If I was doing this for money, I would have quit a long time ago. But welcome to the party, Jake Hudson, and thank you very much for sharing. You didn't have to do that. I rarely will ask, but it does get the numbers bigger, in terms of thank you, Jake, very much. I appreciate that. I don't ask for much, Jake, shares and retweets when I'm doing this or after when the stream posts. And people like my humor. You can follow me everywhere, and it's really easy. EARLSKAKEL. Earl Skakel everywhere from Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I always tell people um, I'm more active right now on YouTube and Instagram. I do tweet out some jokes on Twitter, but not too much anymore. I'm probably the least active on Facebook. I probably put out 1 or 2 videos on TikTok a week, and then, Patreon, I have Zen's producer put out some content, so it's worth the money for you. Yeah, this is not a wrestling stream per se. It's like this stream is kind of like North Dallas 40, where North Dallas 40 on paper is a football movie, but it's really a movie about power. Um, so this is not a wrestling stream per se. Um, I do tell it like it is, cool boy. I keep it real. You either like it or you don't. And obviously, I want everyone to like it. But if they don't, I don't beg for people to like me. If you don't think I'm funny, don't listen. If you think I'm funny, listen. Um, but I do appreciate everyone listening. We've done this for about an hour and a half now. So I was actually watching AEW before they were named AEW. I was watching the pre-show today on WGN America. That's great. I mean, I love AEW. I'm not really a WWE guy, Jake, and I think everyone else knows that. And I just like the matchups; they're fresh. MJF against Jay White. I'm excited to see it because I've never seen it before. I don't want to see Cody Rhodes against Roman Reigns again. Well, maybe that one I do just because they haven't wrestled that much. But I don't want to see Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns again. I don't want to see Seth Rollins against uh, Randy Orton again. I don't want to see The Undertaker come back again. I've seen it 1,000 times. I didn't, but in full disclosure, I didn't want to see Ric Flair come back in AEW. Like, I don't want to see these guys when they're in their fucking 70s and can barely move. Like, I got sad seeing the Big Show barely be able to walk down the ramp. Um, I love Alexa Bliss, and we both have something in common. We both love the band Bowling for Soup. Who knows? I mean, I think the signing has to be fairly significant. I mean, obviously, your point towards the devil possibly being Mercedes Monet, that's huge. That would be a big. I mean, that because she's a crossover star. New Japan, WWE fans, AEW fans. I mean, Danhausen as the devil would be. That's the first one I thought of in terms of what would be really cool. Like if it's Britt Baker and Adam Cole, or even CM Punk. I don't see them bringing CM Punk back into that locker room. I just don't see it. Um, I don't watch Impact, Jake. I try, it doesn't do it for me. Although that's where Big Bill was last year, and I love Bully Ray, but I just don't. Yeah, but I could see Dolph Ziggler going to AEW. I don't see Ziggler wanting to go to Impact. I mean, because AEW is a pretty chill travel schedule. I'm sure he'd have it worked out. By the way, his comedy show is tonight at the Lyric Hyperion. Um, for those of you who are in Los Angeles, I think a lot of AEW people will be there. I know the Guns are out prowling around the town right now. Big Bill got in today, so if you're in LA right now, you're going to see some big dudes strolling the streets, and who knows, I might be with them. But I'm going to watch the Kings play in 2 minutes. The Kings play in 2 minutes, so we're going to wrap this up. Yes, I was on Adult Swim, still am on Adult Swim, Jake. HBO Max and the Cartoon Network. Tyler, the creators of the Jellies. I was honored to be a part of that show. Um, and Tyler was awesome. And Jake, if you're new to being a fan of mine, which I'm assuming you are, because I'm kind of out of the Dabbleverse world, and I just can't do it anymore, man. Uh, I was on Roast Battle on Comedy Central. I'm dying up here on Showtime. Rob Schneider Show, Real Rob on Netflix. I sound like Brody Stevens right now, giving you all credits. And I'm a paid regular at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles, California. Now, I wore this shirt last night, bruv, and I had on the Will Ospreay track jacket, and I had a pretty good set. And this guy comes up to me from the UK. He's like, "You like Will Ospreay, mate?" And this guy came all the way from the UK to see Full Gear. So how was it? I'll answer that one question, Jake, and then I got to go watch the hockey game. To be honest with you, how was it battling, or how was it judging the battle between Ray DeVito and Chad? I mean, I did it because I love roast battle. I don't love what was done to me on the show, but I have an affinity for the show because I was in the room from day one. Um, and my qualifications for judging the battle was what is CMFTR, CMFR? I don't know what that is. Uh, I probably judged over 100 roast battles in LA. I think I judged two in New York. And I was on the weekly show for 5 years. So I've seen literally over 1,000 roast battles. Because each week, in the 5 years I was on the show, they never took 1 week off. Moses was sick, he'd still host. And hi Earl's hog. I see the Dabbleverse people coming in. Probably a good time to end the chat. I got to watch my hockey. I don't want to watch the game while, uh, I'm doing this. Be kind of a dick. I tell you what, I'll keep the stream going for a few more minutes. I got to get off. Hello. And turn the TV on. I'll turn the volume down. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just getting the stream now. And I've done 13 roast battles, Jake, 5 on television. So I know how to judge a roast battle. And the reason why I didn't necessarily have that, I had fun judging the battle, but the people talking, I don't even think I have that many, Citizen. I think I have 21 Patreon subscribers, but like 5 of them are freebies. And that's fine. I don't need the money that much. So I wish I had a couple hundred? Absolutely. Or you can just PayPal me, eSkakel at AOL.com. Well, I don't know if that's a bragging point, Jake, to be honest with you. So, I still stand by my judging. I don't want to talk about it too much just because that's for Melton and MLC and Insufferable Bastards and all those guys and girls, Steel Toe, to talk about the battle. But I gave Ray the first round. I said he won decisively. And I said Ray had the best joke in the second round, but I still believe Chad had the more good jokes than Ray. So you can still lose a battle how I judge if you had the best joke in the round. I thought Chad was more consistent, and I said he edged Ray. I didn't say he killed Ray or destroyed him or whatever. And then I still stand by in the third round, nobody did enough to win. I very much believe that. And I know a lot of people hate Chad, but they make me and Chad out to be like Thelma and Louise. I haven't seen Chad in person in 3 or 4 years. And if you take away the text he sends me, hey, do you want to do the football podcast? We text maybe once every 2 months. So I'm hardly like, no, I don't think he won. I definitely don't think Chad won, to be honest with you. Clip that and put it into the dabble world. I think it was a tie. And if you go back and roll the tape, and I know Melton has, I'm the first person, as a matter of fact, I think I'm the only person who literally said, hey, it's still a tie for me. I'm going to need a one joke overtime. Kind of like deciding the tie like the NHL does games in a shootout. Yeah, I mean, it was an okay battle. I mean, I've been to where Ray was in terms of I had a lot of 3-round battles where my first round, I front load all my best jokes, and Ray killed in that first round, borderline killed. You could tell Chad was a little nervous and all that stuff. He talked a lot of shit, and then I think it hit him. Oh man, I got to back it up now. So he stammered a little bit on the first two jokes, and Ray just hit a nice mean streak. And then, the second round, I thought Ray lost steam. Because all his good jokes were in the first round. He saved the round with the Sandusky joke, but I still thought Chad had like three decent jokes back to back to back. And for me, that won him the round, barely. And then the third round, it's like beating the heavyweight champ in the UFC or boxing. You got to kill him to beat the champ. And I don't think either guy, it's a draw. So it was fun, Jake. But I don't. I had one guy who's, I guess, a Ray fan on Twitter, and he meant it. He said, "I hope you die of bone cancer." And I'm like, "Fuck that, man. That's like what?" Because I don't vote for the guy you wanted to win a Zoom roast battle. You hope I die of cancer, not just cancer, but bone cancer. That's mental illness, man. So after that, and maybe he did it to get me out of the dabble world. I'm like, you got it, man. You can have this world. All right, guys. But I'm not even kidding, Decline. Like that's like what? It's like the Stevie Lou boxing match. I think that was a draw. Am I supposed to die of AIDS now because I think that was a draw? Uh, but I mean, it's funny. Like a lot here in a world where I don't agree with or certainly don't share the same opinion with. I'm not going to wish anyone cancer, bone cancer, because I had a comic friend of mine die of bone cancer. It ain't pretty, bro. Um, but I don't know. That's all. I'll probably do another stream tomorrow night after I get home from Rampage and Collision, and then I'm going to Full Gear. So I don't know if I'll do a stream right after that, but I'll at least do 1 to 2 more streams this weekend. Follow me everywhere, guys. Earl Skakel, EarlSkakel. Thanks, Jake, for coming in. And Citizen Macabre, Poppy, I think you're new. Decline Host, I believe you might be new as well. And to the long timers, Spurg, and obviously my buddy Days with Jordan the Lion. Check out his travel vlog, Days with Jordan the Lion. It's the best travel vlog on the internet by far. So Earl Skakel, over and out. No spots this weekend at the Comedy Store because I'm too busy going to wrestling. By God.